Hi, welcome to episode 27, and this is the end of the first book.
This is the end of the first book. Yes, it's a major episode and it explains a lot of things.
So happy to have everybody here and enjoy the last chapter of the book.
The last chapter,
I think everybody will like what happens here, right?
So just as a recap from the last episode, Yeshua, instead of going back to Judea and to Jerusalem, was rerouted to Egypt, where he spent a few months, close to a year actually, teaching in a healing school.
Okay.
When he was teaching young women, young people, old people, all the art of healing and the art of health. And right at the end, he had a premonition, a dream, telling him that he has to travel further south.
Oh, that's right.
In the direction of Heliopolis, right?
Right.
And so he basically stopped. He went with Master Hamza on the little donkey. And they stopped at near a lake. And near that lake, there are three men who came to talk to Yeshua. And at that point, Yeshua realized that the moment which is coming is the most important moment of his life. He feels it as a certainty. There's something, in his guts.
He knows something's
him,
up.
Yeah.
Something's up.
And he realized that, he could have said no to whatever is coming, but as an avatar, he will never renounce.
Yeah.
So he couldn't say no. So he's going to cross his arms and he followed the three men toward the temple made of white stone. So we're actually not too far from the Great Pyramids, but about 2 days of walking away from the Great Pyramids. Okay. So somewhere in Heliopolis, it's not clearly defined. In an Egyptian temple. And one of those three men are high priests of very high caliber. And one of them has the completely black skin. And I think he's known as Balthazar in the tradition. The Bible tells about him as one of the wise king, right?
Right.
Yeah. So Yeshua is going to empty his mind, and he knows that his life is about to change completely. Everything will change. So they're on the entrance to the temple, and they're going to move into a tall room, which is entirely painted in blue. The Egyptian apparently enjoy
they like the blue.
The blue color.
That's an Anunnaki influence.
Right. There is I think you have to picture those temples, right, which have a very tall tower, right?
Right.
It's like I don't know. It's kind of like a chimney, but inverted, And there is a small opening at the very end of the ceiling, okay? And there are also some sculpture of the sun and the moon on the walls, and the sculpture are colored in white. So the Akashic memory are giving us a lot of details about what is going on. And I'm sorry, but maybe boring, but that's the way it is. I think it's important for the audience to realize what is going on.
Right.
And there is also a fire burning in the center of the room. So they are not going to stop in that room. They go to another room, a second room, this one is painted in dark blue.
Yeah.
And it has an even higher ceiling with an extremely small opening at the top.
Oh, okay.
It's like a funnel, basically, right? With a tiny, tiny opening at the top. And it's actually, there is so little light that it is difficult to see inside, And so the three men start talking to Yeshua in Greek, which is good for him because he has a complete understanding and he's very fluent in Greek.
Right.
And they tell him this: Master Yeshua, we are your brothers from Heliopolis. A presence who visited us, and we know what that presence is.
What the presence was,
Elohim, right?
Yeah.
Is asking us to escort you until you are dressed of sunshine.
Oh.
Dressed of sunshine.
Okay. That's I think a double meaning there.
Yes, there is a double meaning. there is a special place not too far from here, and this is where the mystery will take place. Numerous scriptures have announced your coming for a very long time, for the plan. And again, we have this notion of plan, which has to happen. And we are going to prepare you for what is to be the greatest initiation in this world. It will take place in the heart of the Great Pyramid.
Wow.
So that's what they are going to use it for.
Okay.
So
Powerful.
yes. So for a few weeks, the three men are going to teach Yeshua certain rituals, postures, and breathing techniques and exercises with some mantric songs. Mantric means, repetition of mantras.
Right.
For quite a few weeks, almost 3 or 4 weeks, it's going to last. And Yeshua will also have to fast. This is part also of the preparation for the initiation. So Yeshua is not really surprised. He was expecting something like that. There is a logic which is inevitable, and it was inscribed in him forever. He knows that this moment had to come.
He had a gut feeling.
And he spent his last night alone, and praying on the shores of the lake before, starting the training. We are not at the initiation yet. It's just the training. So at dawn, Yeshua goes to the temple, and the three high priests are waiting for him. So they all go to, they enter the second room, and they go to a heavy wooden chest. And they pull a very large object out of this heavy chest, okay? And they place it on a small rug, very, very careful, in front of Yeshua. And they tell him, Master Yeshua, this object was found in a room under the pyramids.
Oh.
With many other things, okay? The traditions say that it was built by the survivors of Atlantis.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Following the direction of Elohim. So it's a technology which is at the same time Atlantean technology with a little bit of extraterrestrial influence. And Elohim is the one who told us about your coming on this planet a long time ago. So I'm gonna try to describe the object as it is reported by the Akashic memory, but it is basically a big sphere made of glass, and it is actually perfectly transparent. Yeshua is saying that this is the nicest and the most perfect glass he has ever seen.
So it's just a sphere.
Right, okay, it's just a sphere. But inside that sphere, there are 7 other spheres, which are imbricated, one into each other, like Russian dolls.
Right.
So, I don't know, just let's think about the technology which is there, right? Where you have...
especially with glass.
Yeah, especially with glass.
Who's blowing that glass then, right?
So they're all included into each other. And each sphere has a different color blue, okay?
You're saying it was 7?
7 of them, yes.
Like the chakras.
Yeah, 7
planets.
Inside the big, there is a big sphere encompassing everything. But inside them there are 7 other spheres. And they basically go from a light blue all the way to a very dark blue for the tiny one which is in the middle. And what is interesting is that each of the sphere inside the main sphere has a little hole which is circled in white. So there is a tiny opening with a little white circle around it. And the interesting part is that the smaller sphere, which is at the very center of the device, has also a little opening, but which is circled in red. Okay? And apparently the air can circulate between all those spheres, thanks to those small openings. And so Yeshua studies that very strange object, he looks at it and he realized that for him, it is a cosmic calendar. It is a device which has been created to indicate certain major events in the cosmos.
Okay.
And one of the priests smiles and tells Yeshua, yes, he probably read his mind.
Yes.
Yeah, we are going to put it into motion, and you will see for yourself the precision and the righteousness of the time that comes.
Interesting.
Yeah. So Yeshua agrees and asks for the device to be set in motion. You know? And the three priests are positioning themselves in a triangle. So you have to picture that big sphere in the middle. You know, it's sitting on a piece of wood, and the three priests are triangulating, you know, themselves around the device. And they start a silent meditation. And Yeshua is not participating; he's just observing the scene, right? Seeing what. And the three priests are starting to sing with a very low tone, like the Tibetan monks.
Oh, okay,
you know,
right.
Something that comes from the guts more than the throat.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Deep.
Yeah, and suddenly the sphere containing the other sphere starts levitating. It starts lifting
So it's
itself
sound
from the,
that has it.
Yeah. So the sound is activating it.
That makes sense, right?
And that sphere of glass is now, you know, levitating above the floor. And even worse than, even more incredible than that, the sphere inside are starting to turn.
Ooh, wow.
Yes. They are all putting themselves in motion. And each one has an independent motion inside.
Okay, so cool.
It's all based on the sound, yeah. And what happens is that little by little, all the openings of all the spheres is aligned. They're all superimposing.
Okay.
So, you know, so you could almost, you know, put a ray of light through the opening, and then it would go through all the spheres. The alignment is just perfect. But there is only one sphere, the tiny one, the small one, which is in the middle, which is still spinning very slowly, the one which has the red hole, but it is not exactly aligned with the other sphere yet.
Okay.
Yeah. Almost. You know, almost aligned, but not yet. And Yeshua realized that the small sphere is actually representing him.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. And because this perfect alignment of all seven spheres is about to happen, but he's still a few weeks away from his initiation.
Okay.
And so that's why the small sphere is not exactly aligned yet.
Aha. Aha. Okay.
So it's a cosmic calendar which is showing Yeshua how a ray of light would cross the device, you know, and penetrate all the spheres through the opening. But the small sphere is not there yet. So the men stop their singing and their meditation, and the device, you know, lands gently on its stand, basically. And Yeshua realized very well that this device and its calendar are showing his initiation, and when his active role in the world will happen. So suddenly he's hit by the enormity of his responsibility. It's becoming obvious, and it is hitting him in full face. He realized that all the things that has happened to him in the past, you know, was part of the plan, that famous plan, you know, and it is like a celestial apparatus with all its cycle, curves, and spiritual and spirals, you know, being put in motion. So,
and he's the catalyst for the last piece, huh?
Yes, yeah. And he realized that the beginning is very close, and that there will be an end to the plan as well. You know, like every plan, you have a beginning, but you also have an end. And Yeshua is the latest link of a long chain of avatars who have come to this planet for eons, you know, to spread the sun and the love to a humankind which is quite recalcitrant and reluctant to learn, unfortunately. Yeah.
Well, I think it's got to do with the energy of the planet too, right?
Yeah.
So it's hard.
And Yeshua is thinking that, you know, if he has to be a disruptive element, a shaker, he also wants to be someone who express compassion and bring comfort to the people, you know. So Yeshua is gonna stay 3 weeks in this strange room. He's actually not allowed to get out.
Oh, really?
Yes, he's staying in this room with this incredible high ceiling with just a small hole on the top. And we're going to understand why there is this small hole.
Oh,
so
yeah.
every day
I know why.
Yeah, he had to lay down on the floor
Yes.
at a very precise location. And while he's doing certain breathing exercise in a certain way, you know, there will be at a certain moment there will be a ray of sunshine going through that tiny opening and hitting his forehead.
Oh, on a third eye?
On the third eye.
Oh, okay.
At a certain moment, you know. And when the ray is hitting his forehead, there is a visualization, the display in his mind of some archetypals.
Okay.
So what are archetypals? I mean, they are drawings, they are symbols that are being imprinted in his mind and in his brain.
Okay.
He's going to need those during his initiation.
So it's some kind of energy or frequency with those symbols.
Those are very, very specific symbols, which are coming to his conscious, So, in addition to all these exercises, you know, he has to do a strict fasting. And apparently he's only allowed to have 2 or 3 fruits per day and some water. So it's but we will understand why. I mean, you know,
I guess they're preparing him for something
exactly.
big.
They are preparing him for something absolutely amazing.
He has to be purified and
he has
receive activations and all kinds of stuff.
And the fasting actually helps him visualize and memorize the archetypes. So remember, every day he gets the ray of sun.
Pinpoint, third eye.
And so the fact that he's fasting, you know, helps his memory and capability to understand all that. And the most difficult for Yeshua is not so much the preparation and exercise, because he's used to that. You know, he has been doing it for pretty much all his life. But it is the heat of Egypt. This is summertime.
Oh,
the heat
is
unbearable, and on top of that,
he's in that closed room with that little bit of. Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Wow.
And there is a wind also blowing from the desert and bringing dust and sand.
The sand.
So finally, after 3 weeks, his training comes to an end, and he's allowed to exit the temple. You know, so he's quite happy about that, because at least he can breathe a little bit outside.
Yes, poor thing.
His friend, Master Hamza, is waiting for him outside. But
oh my gosh, for 3 weeks he waited for him.
He was waiting for him. But he doesn't dare to touch him.
Oh.
And in fact, the 3 brothers, the 3 priests, you know, have told everybody around the surrounding of Yeshua that nobody had to touch him. They are not allowed to touch him. Wow. He has to remain as pure.
Almost like he's purified.
As pure as possible. And the only thing that Yeshua can touch, the only thing alive, is actually a little white horse, which is going to take him to the pyramids.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, nice. Okay. At least he doesn't have to walk over there. Yeah.
So the whole group, you know, 8 people. We have Master Hamza, the 3 priests from Heliopolis. There are also 2 helpers from the temple. There is 1 man in charge of the animals, because everybody is riding on the back of horses. And Yeshua, so 8 people, are now traveling to the Great Pyramids.
Okay.
And on the way to the pyramids, the small group crosses a Roman legion of about 200 soldiers.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, wearing arms, shields, and helmets, you know. And
not the sight you want to see.
Yeah, and that shows of forces bring Yeshua back to his childhood, you know. I don't know, people who have been following our episodes may remember that when he was 5 or 6 years old, on the way to the Carmel School of Mystery.
Right.
They met a little, I think it was just a
wasn't a lot of them.
Yeah, it was 10 soldiers with Epicurean, right?
Right.
And there was a some mishap that happened. When Yeshua brought back to life a mule, the decurion didn't like it and slaughtered the horse. Yeah. So, seeing the Romans again brings back all these memories. It's a delicate encounter, and he realized that the Roman invaders are everywhere. And actually, the Romans have been in Egypt for the past 60 years before Yeshua came here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they are not new to that land. So the legion is leaving behind them. So they let the legion pass, of course, and it's leaving behind them a cloud of dust and nasty thoughts and everything, and they are just trying to cross it and go.
He's trying to stay purified while he's picking up all this.
Yes, all these.
Gosh. Yeah.
So he's trying to keep his mind and sensitivity close during the trip, and he doesn't want to stain his higher state of consciousness,
right,
with all the thoughts of the soldier and
because he'd definitely be sensitive to that.
Yes, and their officers, So it takes about 2 days for the group to reach the Great Pyramids, and when they arrive, like everybody who goes to Egypt, Yeshua is just shocked by the magnitude and the majesty of these constructions. He cannot believe his eyes,
Yeah.
He also realized that the personality of the personality of Yeshua, as he understands it and perceives it, is going to die in that place. And that nothing will ever be the same.
Yeah.
In his heart and in his flesh. And we're going to see what happens exactly. So they stop, the small group stops to salute a group of shepherds, which is staying near the highest pyramid. And the chief of the shepherds obviously has a role to play. I think he's keeping everybody away from the pyramids while the initiation is taking place. He's also the one who helps them climb to get to the door. And so they decided to settle a small encampment near the Sphinx.
Oh, okay. Why not?
Why not? Yeah. And Yeshua is asked to not do anything. He's not supposed to do anything, not supposed to touch anything, He must remain calm and serene. But he's allowed to walk, and he decides to go to the Sphinx, and he entered the space between the two legs of the Sphinx.
Oh, okay.
So I guess our audience can picture how it looks. And Yeshua knows from memory, because he has been studying Egypt and the pyramids and the Sphinx, in the Carmel School of Mystery, that there is a small space hidden between the legs. There is a little piece of wall, and then you can go behind it. Okay. And that's where he starts meditating and praying.
Okay.
And after closing his eyes, he perceives a staircase going down in the ground between the two legs.
Okay.
Yes. And he goes to an underground room. And so still using, in his astral plane, astral body, basically, he's going beyond that room, and there is another room beyond it. And after passing the second room, he realized that there is a whole underground city located there.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. So just want to make a parenthesis. It is the knowledge of the secret societies and on the military that there is an underground city under the Sphinx and under
it doesn't surprise
the
me.
pyramids. Yeah,
they find it all over the place.
Right.
Yeah.
But my knowledge is that they have not been able to enter the city.
Oh, well, yeah.
They managed to get on the first and second room, but they could not go beyond that.
Yeah, they probably have to have the codes,
Yeah,
right?
you have to have the codes, and you have to have a certain... you have to be able to...
Vibrational frequency.
To transmit a certain vibration with your throat and mantras.
Right.
And apparently they don't have the secret for that, which is probably a good thing.
Thank God.
Yeah. So... Yeshua, is not worried about that. This is not the purpose of why he's here. So he goes back to the encampment and all alone. And after eating a few fruits, he gets ready for his last night as a human being. as a human being as he is.
Right, right.
Today. And during the night, near dawn, interestingly, there is a sand fox, a little fox that comes into his tent and placed his muzzle against his forehead to wake him up.
Oh, it's so cute.
And Yeshua knows it was time. The first ray of sun is now barely visible in the horizon, so they know that he has to get up. And so one of the three priests give Yeshua a beautiful robe made of the purest linen he has ever seen. So he's wearing this perfect and beautiful linen robe, and the three priests and the two helpers are leading Yeshua to the Great Pyramid, and they are carrying multiple torches with them. And the Great Pyramid is sitting, extremely ominous. It's in the night sky, the light hasn't come yet. And the door where they have to go is located about 1/3 of the height. Okay. So they have to climb those enormous blocks, until they can reach the door. And the door, I found a picture, I guess it's still used nowadays. It has a triangular entrance.
Oh,
so
okay.
You can see, and there is a broken stone on the side, which is probably a remnants of a lead or some kind of an ancient door, yeah. And the black priest, who is the leader of the group, is gonna take a torch and is leading the group inside the pyramid while singing some mantras. So this is all a very specific rituals which have to be, followed to the letter.
Right.
And Yeshua is right behind him, followed by the other 4 people behind him. The other 2 high priests and then the 2 helpers from the temple. And the hallway is very narrow and suffocating. The air is stale. I guess there is not much air flowing into that building. And they arrive at a point where one of the priests places his torch in one of the special support on the wall. He kneels on the ground and he pushes a stone on the floor. And that opens apparently some kind of passage. And Yeshua and the priest are crawling through a narrow passage on the floor. So, I have some pictures of the how you get into the king chamber, and you really have to crawl into it. Wow. There is no way you can. So after arriving in that small room, they start chanting again to elevate the vibration of the place, So Yeshua can almost touch the energy, during the mantras and the singing, and he can feel the love. You almost feel that there is even light coming out of the darkness of the room, which is interesting.
Yeah.
So they're going to move again through another wall, still crawling. This is all about crawling. And they arrive in the famous king chamber.
Right.
People have heard about it. And we will display a cut of the pyramid so you can see
what it looks like.
What it looks like. And we have pictures also of the king chamber. And at that point, Yeshua can feel the sun energy in that room, which is still in the darkness. Okay, and one of the priests is going to light a torch, and it's actually a very small room with a very high ceiling. And in the perfect center of the room, there is a sarcophagus made of granite. Granite, yeah.
Granite. It's okay.
Yeah. So, and next to the sarcophagus, there is a table where there is again a granite lid, which is resting on the table. So when someone goes into the sarcophagus, multiple people will push the lid on top. Because you cannot lift the lid, it's too heavy.
Right.
So they simply lift it they push it from the table above the sarcophagus.
Okay. There's a table there.
Yeah, there is a table made of stones,
Okay.
which is used to as a rest, as a stand for the lid.
Okay.
So you don't.
They could just kind of push it.
Yeah, because it's so heavy, so
I can't
big.
even imagine how heavy that is. Yeah. Okay.
And so Yeshua at that point, is walking to the sarcophagus and he touches it and he feels a very strange sensation, a mixture of pain and love. Huh. Yeah, it's difficult to describe, It could be a love when the initiation is successful, but it could be horrible pain, probably followed by death.
Yeah.
When the initiation is missed.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think that's what he's seeing, he's feeling. Yeah. So again, the purpose of the pyramid is still a mystery for a lot of people. There have been a lot of ideas which have been pushed around, but what is sure it is an energy amplifier, and it is also a device used for initiation.
Right.
At the highest level.
Right.
Yeah. And at one point, Yeshua looks at the bottom of the sarcophagus,
It's pretty deep,
4 or 5 feet deep,
Yeah.
And after expressing his gratitude to Arun, he feels an infinite joy to be there exactly as expected, to try to reap the harvest of this initiation. So obviously, this is not the first time he has an initiation, and he's used to that. So our Yeshua is going to enter the sarcophagus and he's going to lay down on the bottom of it. And Balthazar, the black priest, gives a small mirror to Yeshua, and he gets his torch close to him. And he tells him, look at yourself now. So Yeshua looks at his face for the last time, and he sees some heavy wrinkles, his eyes, his long beard, and heavy locks of hair. And it takes some time, learning and discovering his face. This is not something he has done very often, right? And he knows that it is the last time, because after this initiation, nothing will ever be the same.
Right.
Yeah. So Yeshua smiles after a while. He returns the mirror and he gives a little sign to the priest, And so the 5 priests, the 3 high priests and the 2 helpers, are going to push the heavy lid on top of the sarcophagus. So the box now, the sarcophagus, is shut tight, and there is no air and no light that can come inside it.
So he went in there and lay down then?
Yes.
Oh,
He's
okay.
inside it.
So he went inside.
Yes.
Okay.
He's inside it. It took 5 people to push the lid back in place.
Gosh.
And now he's... and that was it. Yeshua is no longer know if he's at the bottom of an abyss on top of the highest mountain at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
Wherever his mind's going to take him.
Exactly, yeah. One thing is sure is love is still exploding inside him, and he's offering himself fully to whatever will happen.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So his arms are on the side of his body, his eyelids are shut, and he's thinking for a while that he was going to suffocate as there is no air coming inside So there is only one solution in that case. It is to slow down consciously your heart rate and the breathing mechanism. And so for a very long time, he's repeating a mantra, impressing the vibration to all his cells in his body, And his body is going to enter some kind of stasis. You could compare it to some kind of a coma, today, right? Where his life is being suspended, basically.
An induced coma.
Yeah.
Self-induced coma.
Self-induced, yes.
Yeah.
So nothing moves anymore, no heartbeat, no breathing. There is no way you can breathe, right? The stuff is closed. After a couple of hours, there won't be any more oxygen, right? So in his consciousness inside, a sunrise starts to happen. and his soul detaches itself from his body, which is the purpose of the initiation, is to kick your consciousness out of your body, no matter what. If you cannot kick it out, you're gonna die.
That's simple, I guess.
Yeah, he feels while being, while separating from his physical body, he feels the crossing of the granite, through his astral body. And then the light happens, a light which is absolutely pure life. So he realized that his consciousness is not facing the portal of his own spirit anymore, but the spirit of the sun itself. So I suspect that the pyramid itself is taking his consciousness to a higher level,
right,
in a higher dimension, And it is some kind of ecstasy. Yeshua's consciousness is suspended, between the absolute and the void. And again, the Akashic memory are trying to depict, or convey to us what he's feeling, but it's probably extremely difficult.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Because he's probably feeling nothing, really.
No. Well, he feels actually a lot of stuff.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
And he feels like there is no longer good and evil. As the truth of the truth is appearing to him. Duality is completely gone. There is no more Yeshua, by the way. Just a flow of life, Even the idea and the concept of divine becomes irrelevant in this stage.
Wow.
Yeah. Because divines means that there is divine and then there is you.
Right.
And you are not divine.
Right.
There is still this separation, right?
Right.
But where he is now, this concept doesn't exist anymore yet. So Yeshua is drinking this ocean of compassion and comprehension for a long time, until he becomes so drunk with it that he hears a sound resonating in his consciousness. And at that point, he knows that it is some kind of trigger, right? So he's going to use the visualization of the archetypes to climb even higher. And there is a voice suddenly that calls him. And the voice says, "Human, welcome me." And for Yeshua, it's like thunder, It's like, and a name comes into his consciousness, and the name is Miahel.
Okay.
And this is the sacred name of the archangel, we know him as Michael, who is expressing the Christic energy in our solar system.
Okay.
Okay, so that is secret and obscure. What do you call it? The name that maybe we shouldn't be using it. So Yeshua feels that energy which is penetrating him now, and that energy is at the same time light, but also incredibly powerful, and it comes into him. But he realized that energy has nothing human. It is coming from another source. And he realized that this energy comes from the sun directly.
Oh.
And that he was going to have to live with it and surrender himself to it. And in Yeshua's consciousness, there is a little bit of a human trait that screams, Father, Father, whoever you are, keep me, protect me. Because that energy is so brutal, and so
pretty
intense.
Powerful.
So for our audience, I think it's important to realize that what is happening is that the soul, the personality of Yeshua is now overshadowed by the logos of the sun.
Okay.
So what is the logos? The logos is the soul, is the consciousness of a planet, or a sun, or a solar system. I mean, every level, every organization of the cosmos has a soul and a consciousness. Okay. Like we do have a soul and a consciousness, right?
Right.
Yeah. So the planet has a soul and a consciousness. I mean, it's called a logos. I'm not going to give the name of it today. But then the sun itself has also a logos. And this logos is Miahel. So after all this incredible wave of energy, suddenly there is nothing else. Total silence. And he feels a deep fall, like a feather falling from the sky, going down. Very slowly, his heart is starting again to beat. So he's bringing himself, back to life in the body. Yeah.
Wow.
His body, the body of the Son, and he realized it's not the body of Yeshua anymore. It's the body of the Son that he has been drinking so much. And he tries to open his eyes painfully because his eyelids are glued by the salt of his tears.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a strange white light also is in the room. And Yeshua is learning how to breathe again. This is like a newborn,
It's a rebirth.
It's a rebirth.
It's a rebirth.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And he tries to move his limbs, and he realizes that he's no longer inside the sarcophagus.
Oh, wow.
But he's laying on top of the lid, outside of the sarcophagus.
Oh my
and
gosh.
the lid is still in place.
Wait till the guys get back.
Yeah, so every one of his molecule, every one of his atoms has been transmuted and laid back on top of the lid. Yeah.
I guess he had to have that experience, didn't he, for what he has to go through.
Yeah. So at this point, Yeshua feels an incredible joy, He's feeling that he's now part of the divine. And he truly is fully inhabited by the divine. So he managed to stand on the side of the sarcophagus in the little room, and he's waiting for the priest. And one after, they probably felt like, initiation was over. And so they came one after the other. And they crawled through a small entrance, and they realized the room is bathed in a pale light.
Oh.
They don't have a torch.
There's no torch, but there's a light.
There is a light coming out of the body of Yeshua.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like the moonlight.
That's awesome.
He's radiating light.
Beautiful.
And they are so stunned to find Yeshua outside of the closed sarcophagus. All the priests are basically prostrating at his feet. I mean, they cannot believe,
Oh, yeah, of course. Could you imagine saying that? Whew.
So Yeshua asked them to take him outside. He said, because now the cup is full. So the priests are telling Yeshua, you've been inside the Great Pyramid, you have been inside the sarcophagus for the past 3 days.
3 days.
Which is a typical time it takes for initiation. Yeah, normally this is the normal time. Yeah, 72 hours.
Yeah, I know, but think about where he was for 72 hours.
Right.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a long time to be in there. And the dark room's a different thing, but when you're in a sarcophagus,
yeah,
might be another story.
And so the whole group is coming out of the Great Pyramid, and Yeshua sees Hamza, Master Hamza, agitated, wondering what's going on. And Hamza doesn't dare to approach him.
Yeah.
And Yeshua walks to him and hugs him.
Oh.
So that night, of course, Yeshua is not going to sleep. His body is so full of energy and so expanded. He spends the night looking at the firmament and the stars. And when the day comes, they ride with the horses and the animals to the Nile River, where a boat is actually taking Yeshua down the Nile to the sea. So the group basically organized this return now to Galilee, to Judea, but instead of walking and so forth, he's gonna be traveling by boat.
Ah, nice.
Yeah. And after that, once he reached the Mediterranean Sea, he's gonna be boarding another boat to the city of Joppe, which is the actual harbor of Jaffa, and then he would walk to Jerusalem. And again, we will be showing a map to explain exactly
This he
what
gets
it is.
to ride on some horses and boats and not have to walk the whole way.
Yeah, so Yeshua parts with the 3 priests from Heliopolis and his friend Master Hamza. And Master Hamza tells Yeshua, that he can now die fully happy after what he had lived in the past few weeks.
Right.
He feels like the reason and the purpose of his life has been completed.
Oh, wow. Good feeling.
Yeah. So Yeshua needs to isolate himself to integrate all the changes that happened to him, And the cruise to Joppe is actually, he's leaning on the railing, looking at the sea, and it facing the wind. It's a perfect place to get some solitude,
Right.
And it is, by the way, it's also the first time Yeshua is actually navigating on the Mediterranean Sea, Yeah.
Okay.
So. And a few days later, he's going to arrive in Joppe, the harbor, and he realized that for the past 18 years, he has not put a foot in the land of Judea.
Wow.
He has been gone for 18 years.
So long.
Yeah.
Can you imagine when his family sees him?
Yeah. So he's observing the people, their clothing, the colors, the attitudes, and
Quite different, huh?
Well, no, it comes to the conclusion that nothing has changed.
Well, I mean, what he's been experiencing, all the
course.
colors and just the different...
But from, when he left at the age of 13 and a half, he realized nothing has changed.
Yeah, everybody's the same after 18 years.
Where instead for Yeshua, everything has been reshuffled and changed inside him.
Right.
So our Yeshua is going to sleep on the way out of Joppe in a little barn, with some animals. And then he's going to walk for 2 more days to Jerusalem. And he enters the citadel, which is surrounded, Jerusalem at that time was surrounded completely by big walls. And he mingles with the crowd. And he's looking for a specific street, which is not far from the fortress of Antonia. And so he's trying to find his way. And it is actually, ironically, it is 2 Roman soldiers with the pilum, the spears in hands, who are giving him some direction.
Oh my gosh.
So Yeshua is going to arrive in front of a large and rich home of his uncle, Yusuf of Arimathea, right? And he knocks on the large door. And the young woman with long and dark hair opens the door and he salutes her. And he asks, is Master Yusuf here? And an old man comes from in the hallway with a white beard and freezes seeing Yeshua. And Yeshua says, Yusuf, my uncle, do you recognize me? It is I, Yeshua. And so this is the end of the first book.
Oh my goodness.
Some 600 pages that we have summarized in 27 episodes.
That's a lot. That was a lot of summarizing.
Yeah. So what I wanted to say about this initiation is it is an initiation of incredible magnitude. It's most likely very few human beings can endure that. Yes, at this level,
Right.
So I think it's important to realize that from that point, Yeshua now is Christ.
Okay. He has a Christic energy.
Yes, he has a Christic energy in him. So this Christic energy is going to stay with him for 5 years.
Okay.
The Christic energy will leave him during his crucifixion.
Okay.
To do something else.
Okay.
We will talk about that in details, But, I think it's important to make the distinction. People call Jesus Christ, okay? But they don't understand what Christ means.
Right.
So I think it's important to clearly indicate that this is Yeshua, which is now overshadowed by the Christic energy.
Okay.
Okay? The overshadowing is similar to a possession, right? A person can be possessed by an evil entity, right?
Right.
But in the case of Yeshua, it's for positive outcome. It's for the good, right? And it is actually an entity. I would not even use the term of entity.
Yeah,
it is a solar logos.
Yeah,
right?
I wouldn't say entity at all because it confuses people.
Exactly. Yeah. So it is one of the highest, if not the highest type of energy that a human being can endure, without being vaporized
and
burnt
Right.
I mean, most humans could not accept something like that. They would be totally destroyed. It would be like a nuclear explosion.
Right.
Yeah. But Yeshua, because of his preparation, because of his
It's a long
DNA,
time preparation.
DNA, and because of his because of the plan, is capable of enduring that incredible energy. Yeah. So a lot of people think that he became Christ during the baptism in the Jordan River. We will get into the details of that. The baptism is simply finalizing the
sealing it.
the Christ energy.
Yeah,
yes,
sealing it. Okay.
But the Great Pyramid initiation is the most important piece of the Christic energy coming into him. Of course, this is not presented in the Bible because nobody talked about it.
Right.
Nobody
knew
knows
about it.
and nobody understands the
Right.
process that took place.
Right.
So I wanted to make those.
It would have been taken out of the Bible.
Yes, it would have. Yeah.
They wouldn't have kept that
But
part.
I think it's important for people who are following the life of so-called secret life of Jesus and Yeshua to understand that. Okay. I think it's paramount.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And we're gonna plan on doing just a overall
summary
of the whole.
Try to answer some questions.
Yeah,
and we would welcome questions again. I mean,
if
if you have
anybody has any questions, it'd be
please,
great because we're
post
gonna get something together and we're going to
Yes.
kind of do a little summary, and then Eve is going to be so kind and do another book for us.
Yes, we're going to get to the
Translate it.
second volume.
Yeah.
It has 600 pages, and we're going to be covering what is better known as part of his life. But we will be debunking a lot of the stories which are in the Bible because they are not right. And I think it's important to know, what the memory of nature has been recording versus what has been written
by man and
modified
changed
and correct so many times. Yeah.
So many times, yeah. So thank you so much for staying with us through all these episodes, and we hope to have you come back. Thank you.